Hey guys, what's going on? It's Game Life Guy here, bringing you another Runescape Rambling. Today, as we continue to fish, as I did not play after I made yesterday's video, I'm just gonna fish these till probably about 15 or so. But anyway, today's topic will be bossing, and what is good to profit off of in 2007 RuneScape. And, what are the notable drops from these creatures? What can be done alone? What can be done with a team? I can't say I'm the best with tactics, but, we'll see. We'll see. Well, I'll give you what I've heard from what I know about tactics. Now, in RuneScape 2007, there's not as many bosses as, the main, live game. Now, that's not to say that there's not a lot of good things you can do in this game. There's not a lot of bad things, but there's not a lot of great things to make solid cash. If you get on a bad streak, you might have a bad day. But that being said, I would probably have to say that my favorite boss to do in 2007 RuneScape back at the time would have been Dagannoth Kings. Simply put, the reason why I would say Dagannoth Kings is that you get drops relatively commonly. Me and my friend back in 2007 RuneScape went to Dagannoth Kings, and we ended up getting 2 Dragon Hatchets, a Mud Battle Staff, and a Warrior Ring, all in about an hour-long trip. Now, I don't know if that's that great, or if that's really good, to be honest. But I do know that generally every time I go there, I would get something decent, and if not, I would always be able to at least make my money back, or the majority of my money back, off the okay drops, because they do have a good drop table. Now, if you're a soloer, if you have a team, first of all, you can look up a team guide, and you could probably get a lot more drops. The only issue is you won't be profiting as much due to the fact that you have to split your, drops with your team, and you have to decide on who gets what. And I really recommend that if you do a team, just to point this out as a little side note, if you do it with a team, do it with people that you've known for a while, because if somebody gets a Mud Battle Staff, there are a lot of cash right now in 2007 Skate. So, I mean, if somebody gets that, or, a Berserker Ring, or something like that, you want to, know that you can have somebody to trust behind that. Otherwise, they will just take it and run. And believe me, it's no fun. It's happened to me. I don't boss with people that I have not known for a while. Anywho, back to the main subject. Dagannoth Kings are solid cash. But if you are a soloer, it can be kind of difficult. But if you got a friend of yours, like, for example, I said last video, I got my Dragon Hatchet from my friend. I suicided for him at Dagannoth Kings. He got a hatchet, and he was like, here, you can have it since you're training your woodcutting. Well, what happened with that is that, I'm sorry that y'all see all the people on my screen. I don't really have the capability to block them out. I'm sure these won't ever get as famous as I planned for these to. So, no worries. They're all nice people. I know them all myself. And, they're nice people. So if you feel like spamming them, don't tell them I told you, but go ahead. Go ahead. Anyway, back to the point, is that a soloer, I would say your best bet would be kill Prime. Prime or Rex. Honestly, I've never been a successful soloer there, but there are guides online for them, and I will not go into too much detail myself because I won't pretend to be knowledgeable about it, but just look up a guide because it can make a really good profit. And if you see Eraser Gaming's channel, if you ever go and you see that, he had a video that was related to soloing Dagannoth Kings, and I believe he was killing Rex, if I'm not mistaken. And he had a good setup, and you could see where he was safe spotting, and all that stuff. So, Eraser Gaming is the channel. I will add a link to the video in the description, and you can go ahead and click on that, be my guest. Anywho, moving on to the next boss, is that when you go to Cowfight Queen is, I believe, the hardest boss in here. Dagannoth Kings can be very dangerous considering there's 3 of them, but if you know what you're doing, you should be perfectly fine there. Anyway, Calphite Queen. Her notable drop is the Dragon Chain Body. That is worth a lot of money right now in 2007 RuneScape. If you get a Dragon Chain Body, you'll by no means be the richest player in the world, but you'll have a quite sizable bank, and it's very, 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 very nice to get one. Now their drops are a lot more rare, so it is fun to do. That's always a plus. That's something that keeps it fresh. You need to have, you can solo it if you really, really, really wanted to, but it's just not that fun. You want to go there with some friends, and once again, I'm not the most knowledgeable about, tactics for this and that. I'm sure there's very advanced tactics, but I do know that she prays, and she sometimes, you need to have, I believe, all 3 angles of the combat triangle, although I could be mistaken on that. I think you might only need 2, because she can only have 1 prey at a time, I think. But, correct me if I'm wrong on that. I don't do Calphite Queen myself. I generally do KBD at the moment, just because of the range level, and it's just for fun with some friends. But anyway, she drops the Dragon Chain Body, and it is a great drop, and it's a really, really fun boss, and it's definitely worth the time if you have some friends, although you do need relatively high combat stats. I would recommend 80 plus or at least 70 plus if you're going with a good group. But I would recommend about 80 to 90 plus. 90 plus if you're going to attempt to solo it. 80 plus if you're going with 2 or 3 friends. Once again, general inventories and what gear to wear. What are some good gears to wear if you're not very rich, you can't afford Barrow's gear and whatnot. I'm sure there's simple guides on that. Rune HQ is a good one. Tippet is a good one. Tippet especially is a good one. But yeah, that's your generalized overview of Calphite Queen. Now, KBD. KBD is kind of frowned upon, to be honest. And I frankly don't see why, because while it's not the most profitable boss, and I will not pretend for a second it is, if you have a high enough range level, alright, look, with these stats, I can go, just with these stats alone, okay, I can go to King Black Dragon alone and get generally 2 to 3 kills with just these stats. Now, when you do that, you don't get a great profit, and you end up burning through a lot of supplies, so I don't recommend it. Although, I've made quite a large sum of money in my time, and, I generally can afford it because I do it just for fun. It's a game. It's meant to be fun. But, if you do that, then more power to you. But if you go with 2 or 3 people, or if your range level is like in the 80s, upper 80s, lower 90s, or all the way to 99 if you're one of those couple, I think it's still under 200 of the people that have it, but I could be mistaken. But yeah, KBD, the only really serious notable drop is the Draconic Visage. Now, those are still worth a lot of money, and if you get one, you're going to make a lot of money. The only issue being is that for a boss that burns through supplies and doesn't give enough good drops, it becomes really unprofitable really quick. Now, he does have a couple of other half-decent drops, like U-Logs, for example. He'll drop stacks of 300 U-Logs, which are actually, it may not seem like it is, but it's actually a pretty decent profit. Always pick up my Dragon Bones because they always give me a little bit of cash to come out of it. I may not get a whole lot back, but it's better than, walking away, having burned, 50k in supplies, and then come back and you can at least get, 25, 30k back. So you always gotta think, and how can I conserve my money? How can I do this as cheap as possible? But if you want to go do KBD, I personally would not recommend it if you were somebody looking for profit. I would say go find yourself a nice team with some upper mid stats and go do Dagannoth Kings. Dagannoth Kings is the best bossing money in 2007 RuneScape. Some people may argue that. If you're, maxed, then by all means go do Calcite Queen. But Dagannoth King is definitely the most solid way to make money. Now, there's one more that I will go over, but they are sort of annoying, and I've never had any real luck there. I've gotten most of the notable drops. Actually, there's two more bosses, pardon me. But I've only got notable drops from those three that I just went over. You have the Chaos Elemental. It is in Deep Wilderness, and it is extremely, extremely obnoxious to fight. You can solo it, and, oh, I got a mystery box. But you can get extremely, extremely good drop from the Chaos. Well, I don't know about extremely, but a decent drop, which is the Dragon Two-Hander. And if you really are into your, bossing, then by all means go to Chaos Elemental. But he has a very annoying habit of teleporting you, and when he teleports you, and even when he doesn't teleport you, he'll take your armor off into your inventory slot. So the second you start eating, you'll start losing armor, you'll have to re-equip it, and it's really quite obnoxious, and it's not that great of a profit, and it can be really, really annoying at times, because sometimes it'll get really unlucky, because there's no cooldown timer on his teleport. You could run up to him, hit him once, be teleported, run up to him, be teleported, run up to him, be teleported. In theory, it could be a never-ending cycle, which could get really, really annoying. But if you have a couple of people, you can go out there, and you actually, I've come to find that if you go out there, I like to have one really high-level friend that'll come with me, not necessarily just for being able to do Chaos Elemental, is that some people like to go out there and go PKing, as it is somewhat near the Mage Bank. So if somebody, happens to wander astray or something, and they're sculled for Mage Bank, or, they're running from somebody for Mage Bank, they've been teleblocked, they're making a run for it for whatever reason towards Chaos Elemental, you never know what could come your way. I had a friend of mine that PK'd a whip from somebody that was going, and he was running for Mage Bank. He was getting barraged. He had been teleblocked, I assume, because that's the only reason people would not teleport immediately into the arena. And I guess the Major must have ran out of runes or something, because he kept chasing them and stabbing them with his staff. And it was really funny, actually, to watch. But my friend had come up, and he DDS'd them twice and got the kill on him, and he got the whip and everything. Dude's prayer dropped. I kind of felt bad for the guy, but he ended up getting the whip, and he made a decent profit. So you got to also take that into effect, that it is in Deep Wilderness, and there is always the threat of PKers, but there's also the potential rewards of those who are very unfortunate to wander into you or some, a gang of your friends or a couple of high levels, because it's Deep Wilderness. So 50 level difference here almost. And you can be killed by almost anyone. So, all that taken into account, you have one last boss that has the potential to drop the most expensive item in 2007 RuneScape. I actually believe it is more expensive than Third Age at the moment. And that is the Dragon Full Helm. And I am talking about Mithril Dragons. Mithril Dragons, I have never in my life had luck with, and I'll be honest, I probably never will. But I believe you mage them is the general accepted way. Once again, don't quote me on that. I am not a great PvMer. But the Dragon Full Helm is crazily expensive, and it has a very low drop rate. It does give you Ancient Pages, which is also very helpful. But not to mention, you get chewed bones. And chewed bones, you light a funeral pyre, and you burn them. And that gives you a small chance of getting a Dragon Full Helm. And those, most of y'all won't get it, but they'll always, if you're a high enough mage level, by the way, if you're like 80 to 85 plus, you'll probably make your money back relatively easy at Mithril Dragons, and most likely profit. But if you get a Dragon Full Helm, and it's so slim that it's not even funny. Once again, to quote Eraser Gaming, I believe he was going to do another 1,000 loot, but he got like 800 and like something kills, I believe, and he didn't get a single Dragon Full Helm out of 800 kills and like 300 something chewed bones. So take that into account for a minute before you go, running off to Mythical Dragons thinking, oh, I'll just go here for a couple days. I'll get a Dragon Full Helm and I'll make my bank. It, if that happens, then you're a RuneScape god. Also, you've made bank. Congratulations, you're set for the rest of your 2007 RuneScape career. But it is fun to do, from what I've been told by some friends of mine who are really into PvM. And it's definitely worth it if you have a high enough mage level. Once again, 80 to 85 plus is what I would recommend. Once again, check some guides, verify that behind me. But those are all the bosses that I can think of that are really fun to kill, that are, good profit to an extent, excluding KBD. But not to say that it can't be profitable. But to sum this up, high mage level, go do Mythical Dragons if you can find a decent guide for 2007. If you're not a decent mage level, go find a friend or two and go to Dagannoth Kings. Trust me, Dagannoth Kings will make you money. It will, 100% of the time, let you profit. Maybe 1 or 2 bad trips every, couple hundred trips you'll have. And it's very profitable. It is the best PvM method that I can personally think of that makes you consistent money with good drops, and good drops that generally sell. Anyway, this has been another Runescape Ramblings on PvM. If you enjoyed this video, leave a comment, subscribe. I will be making constant RuneScape videos and perhaps some Let's Plays here in the future. But, if you have any ideas for future videos, or, you want to help out, or anything of the sorts, give me some feedback, feel free to PM me, inbox, whatever you want to do. And I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Later, guys.